What's up, my fellow watch collectors? I hope you survived another day of watch collecting. Today we have a legend in the building, the SNXS79k1. Let's start with the specs. It has a 37mm dial. It has a sunburst grayish finish on the dial. It has a day-date window, and it has the movement 7S26, and it's 13mm thick. It has acrylic crystal. I also believe the exhibition case back is acrylic. It has to be. And I think that's pretty much about it. Let's talk about one con I'm not a big fan of, and that's the bracelet. It's too jangly, it's too hollow, and I'm pretty lenient. I give a lot of leeway when it comes to bracelet, but this one I'm not a fan of. But I think they have to cut corners somewhere. I think the price point is around $100 back then. Now it's probably a little bit more. I'm not even sure if you can actually get it in retail, or Seiko produces them officially and sell them. So I'm not even sure if you can do that. But yeah, I think back then it was like $100. Let's get a wrist shot in already now and let's talk about the dial. The dial is incredible. It's the stunner. It's actually the star of the show. And honestly, the only great thing about this watch, I'm not a huge fan of the day-date, obstructing the dial, separating the symmetry of the dial. It kind of, I think it ruins it a little bit, but it is framed, which is kind of odd in the sense of, the watch not being premium. I always felt like Seiko only frames date window when they try to make a premium watch. Or generally, watch brands do that. Even Tissot did that with the PRX and the Quartz and the automatic, where the automatic was framed and the Quartz was not. So it's pretty cool that it is framed. So I actually don't mind the fact that it's date window simply because it's framed. It's interesting with the day-date. I think it has to be if it wants to be a Seiko 5, which it is. And I actually like the logo on it. It's applied Seiko and applied 5, which I think is pretty incredible. And at the 6th, it says automatic. I don't know if you can actually see that. So I think that's pretty incredible. The dial, again, amazing. The indices are applied all the way around. I like the fact that it's a flat dial, no edges on the outer edge, no steep angles on the outer edge, sorry. And it has a second track as well on the outer edge. I think if they took this dial and put it in like a SAR body or something like that, I think it would be amazing. And we have the movement as well. We have to talk about it. It's a 7S26 movement. It's not the best. It's very much a utilitarian movement. It's a basic, naked, entry level movement from Seiko. It doesn't hack. I'm not even sure if it actually manually winds. I even think you have to shake it if it needs to run. But I don't necessarily mind that compared to the fact that it's not that expensive, right? The watch in itself cost $100 back in the day, so that's pretty incredible. It doesn't, again, hack. So when you pull out the crown, it's still running, so you can't set the time properly. But it might be part of the charm, because there's so many faults with it that, not faults, but I guess so many entry-level functionalities it doesn't have. So, but it's part of the charm because these watches are enjoyed by many, even people that have very expensive watches. So I don't know what else to talk about. The case is super bare and naked. There's not many detailing to it. Honestly, I'm not the biggest fan of it. Again, they probably had to cut corners. And you can see it from the other side without the crown. Yeah, there's not really much else to really talk about. There's probably a lot to talk about in terms of it's a Seiko 5. And I think if you want an entry-level watch that looks incredible and you want that experience, I think you can't really go wrong with it. But they have definitely cut corners a lot of places, right? I mean, the case finishing, the bracelet for sure, already there, there's like $100. So in terms of I think from an experience standpoint, I think the SRP 55K1, I mean, it's almost going to be the same price if you have to change the bracelet and all that. But what I would do, honestly, is just get a 19mm leather strap. So the luck width is 19mm, so I would just get a 19mm leather strap. I think that would solve a lot of the problems because this watch looks incredible on a strap, right? Because the dial is amazing. It has a dressy vibe to it. It's 37mm, so it kind of fits that dress vibe aesthetic. So that's probably what I would do. But if you really factor in all the things where they cut corners, you start to understand why the price point is what it is. But I don't blame them, right? Because it is genuinely an incredible dial. And I think this is the only version of these SNXSs that I enjoy. The other ones I have not owned, so I can't really speak in terms of experience, but I've seen the designs. I'm not a huge fan of them. I think the dial is the only thing that really keeps me from selling it at this point. I think, because otherwise I wouldn't use it. I think usually what I would do is just take out the bracelet, again, put on a leather strap and wear it like that, because then it has, it's like a dress watch. The only thing that kind of messes it up is the thickness of 13mm. It definitely ruins the vibe, and you can even see like how it protrudes from your wrist. But yeah, I don't know if you can see it properly, but yeah, it is noticeable. I would say it doesn't necessarily disturb my wearing experience, but I mean, if you're into watches, I mean, you definitely like do look at your watch and you can't see it to a certain extent. It's not like you go like this, like bend your wrist and arm and all that to see that protrusion, but you definitely do notice it, simply because even like looking at it directly, you definitely see the heightened thickness. And I think it's, you know, because the movement is older, so they didn't really perfect it or finesse it. So that's why the movement is the reason why it's so much thicker. They could have removed the exhibition case back and maybe just put a steel plate there to make it thinner. But you know, if it's your first watch and you want to be able to see the exhibition case back. I remember me starting the watch collection process. I wanted all my watches with the exhibition case back. Now I don't mind it as much because I'm not necessarily looking at the movement like that, but simply because it's not decorated. It's very much a bare naked movement, which I don't mind. So they probably could have done it, but again, that would have, you know, that would maybe have taken the charm out of the watch, because if this is the first watch, you want every single thing from the experience of owning a automatic watch, and that is an exhibition case bag. I think it really heightens the experience, especially in the beginning of your watch collecting journey. Again, the dial is amazing. Buy it simply for the dial, and I would honestly just recommend the 79k1 with the grayish sunburst dial. I don't know if there's other watches out there in this specific model frame that has that type of dial designs. If there is, please mention them in the comments and I will check them out. Again, an incredible dial, and that's it, you know. And even like the date, I wish it didn't have it, but I do understand, like it's a Seiko 5, so it needs to have a date window. That's part of the allure. Again, I'm not exactly sure 100% what the Seiko 5 stands for. I'm not even sure if Seiko knows it. Incredible watch, at least incredible dial. And if you shifted every other component off the watch to make it a heightened experience, yeah, it would probably cost you $200, $250. But if we just forget that and just enjoy the dial, and genuinely just the proportions as well, the 37mm is so unique for a watch. I mean, it's really a dress watch. I mean, if it was 11mm thick, and it would literally have been a slam dunk, you know, 11mm thick. With the same proportion, I would just switch out the bracelet for a leather strap. You know, you pretty much have a dress watch. With that said, I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know about your experiences in the comments. Again, a warm welcome to you guys, and hopefully you survive another day of watch collecting. Thank you for watching.